Hello, and welcome to today's episode of In the Moment. I'm your host, Michael Clark, certified life coach, former therapist, and owner of Clark Coaching Services. I was a therapist for 8 years of my career and have been a life coach for almost 2 years now. And I just want to give back and share my knowledge and experience with you to try to help navigate this thing we call life. Thank you in advance for listening, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about something that creates a lot of confusion and honestly, a lot of unnecessary shame: ADHD and procrastination. People often use these words interchangeably. I'm such a procrastinator. I think I might have ADHD. Why can't I just start a task like normal people? But here's what many people don't realize. Sometimes it is procrastination. Sometimes it is ADHD. And sometimes it's both. Understanding the difference can completely change how you relate to yourself and how you move forward. So, today, we're going to break this down in a very practical and educational way. I'm not a doctor or specialist, and I'm not here to provide a diagnosis. We will talk about how ADHD affects the brain, what procrastination actually is, where they overlap, where they don't, and most importantly, tools that help with both. Because once understanding replaces self judgment, change becomes much easier. One of the biggest misconceptions about ADHD is that it's primarily an attention problem. In reality, many researchers and clinicians point to something else: activation. Many people with ADHD don't struggle as much with completing tasks, they struggle with starting them. Research shows ADHD affects executive functions, the mental skill responsible for planning, organizing, managing time, and initiating action. So, if you've ever thought, why can't I just begin? There may be more going on neurologically than you realize. Let's talk about time for a second and how it's experienced by individuals. Most people experience time in a linear fashion: past, present, near future, distant future. Simple, right? But many individuals with ADHD describe time very differently. Some experts even say the brain responds primarily to things that feel immediate and real, while distant tasks fail to generate urgency. This is partially connected to dopamine, the neurotransmitter tied to motivation and reward, which is often misaligned in ADHD. When a task does not feel rewarding or urgent, the brain has trouble mobilizing towards it. This is why you might see someone fully capable of starting a task, yet unable to do so. Not lazy, not careless, not unintelligent, and not lacking discipline. Often it's neurological. Executive function differences can create what some describe as a delay between intention and action. The brain knows what to do, but struggles to activate the motor plan to begin. So the difficulty becomes initiation. And here's where something fascinating happens: urgency can become fuel. When pressure rises, approaching deadlines, consequences, emotional stakes, brain chemistry shifts and focus becomes more accessible. Many people suddenly enter an intense productivity mode and start to hyper focus. Sound familiar? Now, let's talk about procrastination, because procrastination is very real, but it is not always ADHD. At its core, procrastination is often driven by psychological resistance, fear of failure, perfectionism, overwhelm, or avoidance. It's less about can't and more about won't right now. Some experts see procrastination as a motivation struggle, while executive functioning challenges can create real barriers when it comes to organizing, planning, and getting started. That distinction matters because the solutions are different. First, listen closely to the internal dialogue. Many people with executive functioning challenges say, I want to start, but I feel incapable. Procrastinators often say, I could start, but I don't want to. Again, it's not always as clean, but it's a powerful reflection point. Misunderstanding this difference often leads people to shame themselves unnecessarily or push themselves with strategies that don't actually work. Now, here's the nuance between ADHD and procrastination, and an important distinction. They can look similar on the surface, but they are not the same. ADHD is a recognized neurodevelopmental condition that affects how the brain manages attention, regulation, and executive functioning. Procrastination, on the other hand, is a behavioral pattern, often driven by avoidance, overwhelm, perfectionism, or emotional discomfort. Now, ADHD can increase procrastination. Why? Because executive functioning challenges affect task initiation, time management, organization, and prioritization. Many individuals with ADHD also experience time blindness, difficulty estimating how long tasks take, or accurately sensing the passage of time. So, when a deadline feels far away, the brain does not register urgency. But when the deadline is suddenly right there, the brain awakens and hello, last minute stress. In that moment, the brain finally experiences enough urgency and stimulation to activate, making it easier to focus, engage, and take action. Now, let's take a breath here and self reflect for a moment. If you see yourself in any of this, please hear this. Struggling to start is not a character flaw. Your brain may simply require different conditions to activate. And here's something I want to emphasize. Many people with ADHD are exceptionally creative, intuitive, energetic, innovative, and capable of deep focus. The goal is not to fight your brain. The goal is to understand it well enough to work with it. There's a book that I read that truly provided insight into ADHD called Faster Than Normal by Peter Shankman. I read it to help me better understand and communicate with my partner at the time who experienced ADHD. Through it, I learned quite a few things, including that ADHD can be a superpower and the brain is not broken, just different. There was a scene in the movie Justice League where Superman was battling other members of the Justice League, including Flash. As Flash was running full speed to try to get around Superman, the audience was able to see Flash through Superman's eyes. And even though Flash was moving at hundreds or even thousands of miles per hour, through the eyes of Superman, he was moving in slow motion and barely moving at all. The ADHD brain sometimes sees the rest of the world as Superman sees the Flash: slow, linear, and unfocused. And guess what? That's okay. So, what do we do to try to understand and communicate between all of this? The procrastinator, the non procrastinator, and the ADHD brain. We start with insight and understanding and then move to strategy. Here are a few tools we can use. Tool number one, create smaller starting points. Big tasks overwhelm the brain. Small tasks invite action instead of, I need to finish this report. Try open the laptop, write one paragraph, work for 5 minutes. Starting creates momentum. Momentum reduces resistance. Tool number two, break work into activation points. Research links ADHD and procrastination to difficulty registering future urgency. So don't rely on one far off deadline. Create several closer ones. Outline Tuesday, draft Friday, final next week. Each checkpoint increases the likelihood your brain engages earlier. Tool number three, externalize structure. Do not rely solely on memory or motivation. Use things like calendars, timers, written task lists, and smart home device reminders. Structure reduces cognitive load and supports executive functioning. Tool number four, watch for emotional avoidance. If you can start but aren't, ask gently, what feels risky here? Am I trying to do this perfectly? What am I afraid might happen? Clarity weakens avoidance. And finally, tool number five, engineer calm urgency. Urgency does not have to mean panic. You can create activation through earlier personal deadlines, scheduled focus sessions with a focus partner, public commitments for accountability. Activation does not require chaos. It requires intention. If challenges with starting, organizing, time management, and follow through are consistently interfering with work, relationships, or daily life, it may be worth seeking assistance. One of my specialties is helping with procrastination and providing actionable tools to help manage one's time. And you know how to reach me, clarkcoachingservices.com. I want to leave you with this thought. What if the story you've been telling yourself is, I'm lazy, I lack discipline, I just need to try harder? What if that story is not actually true? What if your brain just simply operates differently? Because when understanding replaces self criticism, something remarkable happens. We stop fighting ourselves and we start building strategies that actually support how we function best. Whether what you experience is ADHD, procrastination, or some combination of both, you are not broken. You may just need a better starting point. And remember, starting is often the hardest part. But once you begin, momentum has a way of meeting you there. If this episode resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need this reminder today. And as always, take care of your mind your body, and the relationship you have with yourself. Until next time.